Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we'll be discussing the general problem of stress. We see that people often complain about stress due to the various kinds of situations they are undergoing. So for example, people complain of stress related to work life or relationship stress, and even stress due to disagreements with people around them. Now the question arises, why at all do we face stress? Why do we have to go through stress? Now the Quran clearly states that God Almighty created man in toil and trouble. Laqad khalaqnal insana fi kabad. This means that stress is a regular feature of human life. We cannot eliminate stresses from our lives. But the fact is that stresses and strains are actually good for us. They are for our benefit. They play a very positive and enriching role in our lives. And we can understand this very well by an analogy of the immune system. It is said that a child's immune system requires exposure to germs and certain kinds of allergens to develop to its full capacity. But we have often seen that there are some parents who are overprotective of their children, and they try their utmost to keep their children safe from dirt and from interacting with the pathogens in the environment. But according to science, these parents are doing harm. They are not doing good, because what they are effectively doing is that they are depriving the child's immature immune system of the exposure it needs to develop to its maximum capacity. And there is an American Lebanese author, Nassim Taleb, who has extended this principle of the immune system to a child's social and emotional sensibilities. So he says something very important. According to him, children are not fragile. In fact, children are anti-fragile. And he says that it is observed again over here that some parents try to protect their child. They are overprotective of their kids, and they try to prevent them from being exposed to unpleasant social situations, and they try to prevent their children from facing adversities and difficulties in life. So we see that they pamper their children a lot, and they do what is called mollycoddling. But science again shows that this is a very unhealthy practice, because parents who prevent their children from being exposed to various kinds of environments are actually depriving their children of receiving challenges and opportunities meant for making them grow into a strong personality. So this is an extremely important point which we have to understand, and such children are more likely to suffer from shocks and suffer from sadness and grief when they face difficulties later on in their life. So we understand a very important principle about human life, and that is, we all human beings have been born into this world in the form of the ore, O-R-E, ore. And the shocks or the difficulties and adversities of life cut and polish us so that we can be transformed from an ore into a shining diamond. And therefore, the stresses and strains that we face in life are very important. We can say that these stresses and strain actually go on to sculpt us or chisel us into better human beings. This is the role played by stresses and difficulties in our lives. And we must understand that we must not become negative in the face of any difficulty or any challenge. Rather, we must stand up to that challenge. We must not become negative and completely consumed by the situation in which we find ourselves. The only prerequisite to facing these challenges successfully is that we must face them with complete positivity. This is the message that Islam gives us with respect to what stress really is. And as the Quran states, human life is marked with challenges. It cannot be marked with complete ease and comfort. And the only thing that we have to do is to see these stresses and these problems and adversities in life not as evil, because God Almighty never creates anything as absolutely evil. There is always a positive aspect to whichever situation that God brings us into. And the same is true of stress. If we can manage our stress positively, if we control our stress, deal with the stress as a challenge which we have to meet, we have to surmount, then we will grow, we will develop. And this is how we have to engage with stress in our life. These stresses are meant for our intellectual growth, for our personality development. And this is exactly the reason why we face stress. So this is what I had to speak today on the topic of stress. Inshallah, we'll be discussing another topic with reference to Islam tomorrow.